All that doing is always outside. Now you consider this a PG-13 vessel. What that means is that anyone under the age of 13 should be accompanied by an adult at all times. If you are holding your kids at any point during the trip today, please do not put them on. We also have fire extinguishers, fire hoses, fire dancers. And we do also have enough life jackets on board for everyone's day. Those are located in the forward part of the main cabin here, as well as in the second deck cabin. If you would like a demonstration, please feel free to invite myself or any of the crew, and we're happy to show you how those work. This is also a non-smoky vessel, so we ask that you please refrain from smoking on the boat today. That means no vaping. Located on the lowest deck here, towards the back of the boat by the bar. Pumping is sensitive, so we ask that you put only a small amount of toilet paper and what has already passed through you into that. If those bathrooms do need attention at any point during the trip today, please find mark the comment today and we'll be happy to. Do not outside to the back of the boat on the lowest level. Get some fresh air, and if all else. You may have noticed as you got on board today, we do have complimentary coffee and tea available down here by the bar. We also have a variety of snacks and drinks for sale. We have cup noodles, candy bars, hot dogs. And lastly, we do have complimentary binoculars on board for your use throughout the trip today. Those are going to be located in the forward part of the main cabin here. You may not have enough for everyone.
See all the piers, the pylons? So those are floating down. You can see those pylons there's at least probably 10 feet or more.
Lions that are juveniles that are playing around here in front of us. So we're going to get out of here at least a little late, give them some space. But all the best viewing today, by the way, happened at all. And all of a sudden there's four. These guys will be off our right side as we slowly get out of here. But this is the most active I think I've ever seen stellar sea lions. They're usually just lounging around on shore. So get off the right side, the starboard side of the vessel for these guys. We'll hang out for a minute and watch because this is pretty cute.
No, they're not doing anything now. What's that thing? I was like, what's this?
And that's because they're relying on fur to stay warm in these waters that are about 40 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit. And so their body is constantly metabolizing to be able to constantly replenish body heat. Here we go, leaving our sea otter behind here, making our our destination is the base of the Tidewater Glacier. Here we're going to find ourselves ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this wonderful, beautiful throughout our journey today, you're going to find that we are going to stop in various coves and nooks and crannies along the shoreline. What we're going to do is we're going to get close to the shore back over here on the island, and then we'll straighten out and go past them so we don't look like we're driving straight at them. If we do that, we will jump in the water. And as we approach, what will happen here is I'm going to get off the microphone. And if you're on the outer decks, I do recommend you keep the noise low. But right now they're kind of in our 1 o'clock to 12:30 position. And they'll be off on port and left side just a minute here.
See it. It's looking at us. islands. What? I think I counted 5 or 6 a minute ago.
Yeah,
See,
little heads
3.
poking out. Like at least 4.
Hard to.
I just recommend you take a seat while we make our way from Resurrection Bay to Ialic Bay. And if you're comfortable on your feet, just still make sure, please, that you're moving about the vessel with caution. So one hand for the railing and both feet on the deck, please. And I'll let you know right before we jump off the rugged island here in just a minute when we're officially getting out into the Gulf of Alaska. But you've got a minute or two to situate yourselves before then.
This is your guys' first time in Alaska? What do you guys think so far?
Then we're also looking for a retiree exhale as well. So just slowing down here just for whale's safety, but should be with this little boat here ahead of us, kind of in our 1 o'clock-ish position. Humpback whale, the 2 of them are off of their port or left side, so you should be kind of right between us as we approach here shortly. I mentioned the humpback whales when they're fully grown. Sorry. our starboard right side in just a second here. We just got our approach nice and slow. As if you're underwater, the sound of this vessel is incredibly loud, so come up nice and slow. But definitely be off this. Here's a baby window. Same size. There it is. And we think our calf went for dive, but I don't think so yet. Sideways baby there. That's what that little tail was. It went sideways and just half of its fluke or its tail popped out of the water. There's Mom. Now you get a little bit of a size difference there. It's going to come up. You can see that glassy patch of water to the left of the last place they wrote down. Yeah, there you go. So you can kind of keep track of along with those fluke prints or footprints. Basically just little breadcrumbs. So you can give a little bit of information about this too. So this is a North Pacific Antarctic shot. What that means to us is that these particular that when she's here in these waters and she's replenishing her food stores, it'll be about 50% fat, 30 to 50%. So it's kind of like cottage cheese basically. And this calf, this is a brand new 2025 model. Position, we'll give it a second. She might have also tried to turn and take our stern, the back of the boat, so keep your eyes peeled here. But I tried to have them off the 3 o'clock position based on their last trajectory, but we'll see. So, Mom wasn't eating anything, and when Mom finally left there 4 to 6 weeks after birth, they traveled here together. And by the way, when that baby whale was born, it was somewhere around 8 to 12 feet in length and somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500 pounds. That's a big baby. We'll scoot up here, try and get 1 or 2 more views, but we're kind of closing in on the amount of time that we're allowed to spend with each individual. And it's hungry, feeding this calf the whole time. So let's see if we can get 1 more view of these guys. But kind of closing in on us here. 30% of her overall body mass through that migration and that birth. So she's got a lot of weight to regain, but also plenty more that she's got to put back on to be able to do this all over again. And when she leaves here back to those Hawaiian waters, she'll take that calf with her. And typically somewhere just outside or just within the Hawaiian Island before carrying on to our glacier. And yeah, this place is gorgeous. It's one of those places we don't always have the time to get to. And so it's one of those spots that's kind of rare for us to visit. But this is Coleman Bay. It's one of my favorite places in Ayalik Bay here. It's one of those spots where I feel like if you were allowed to build a cabin in the national park, I would do it back here on that beach. And while we wait for these humpback whales to surface, we can kind of talk about this place, Coleman Bay, because you'll notice it's a little different than everything else we've seen so far, in that everything is incredibly tall and extreme, but really closed in, and we're in 156 feet of water right here between the shorelines. So this area is what is called a drowned cirque. What that means is that there used to be a glacier here during that last ice age, and actually thousands of years ago when the Supiaq peoples were here, there was a glacier here, and it sat and carved out basically a bowl. So that's what sits beneath us, is a big deep crevice basically where there used to be a glacier. So that's why these mountains around us are, but they should be somewhere off our port or left side, resurfacing any minute now. Slowly leave here, and then if our humpbacks do pop up, then we'll stop and we'll investigate. but they might have moved on. So, like I said, when they're in these waters, they're focused on feeding. So oftentimes, because they're busy getting fat and happy, imagine yourself when, you're having a party and you've eaten far too much food. Yeah, they experience the same tired feelings. So oftentimes when they're out here, they're either feeding or sleeping. This is Coleman Bay, this drowned cirque that we see, or that surrounds us here. And actually coming into view in our 11 o'clock position, yeah, we have an excellent view actually right now. That is Pedersen Glacier. So we've already seen a couple different types of glaciers today. So Bear Glacier is a lake terminating glacier, so it no longer touches the ocean and calves off into the water. It's sitting in a freshwater lagoon. And then we saw Holgate Glacier. Holgate Glacier is our second tidewater glacier within Ayalik Bay here. And Pedersen Glacier, by the way, if you're looking across the bay and you're like, I don't know, it just kind of looks like dirty snow just above the tree line over there, that is what that is. It's dirty ice. It's covered in glacial debris. But as that glacier retreated, Ayalik Glacier, about 5 miles into this Ayalik Bay area, past the terminal ring, it broke apart into 2 separate glaciers. We're looking at Holgate Glacier. We're looking at a glacier that is a mile wide and reaches a mile and a half all the way up into the Hardy Ice Field. Ooh. We are, so those are all harbor seals out there. And like I said, this is the time of year where they're giving birth. So even if we could push through this ice and get closer, we wouldn't want to. We want to give them lots of space so that they feel comfortable on the ice to either give birth or to take care of their pups. So folks, we are going to be here in true Alaskan ice fishing off the port or left side of the vessel all the way to the back of the boat. So if you want to watch them do that, that's where they'll be. They'll be off that port, the left side, doing some ice fishing. And for now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the absolutely stunning view of Ayalik Glacier.
See them all over there. What? It's 4 o'clock. Oh.
So, these two waterfalls here, kind of in our 4 o'clock. Look to the right of both of them, toward the very next crevice where there's a waterfall, a very skinny one, and at the top of it almost, there's another boat back there. Folks, well, believe it or not, you and we have been here for just over 20 minutes just watching ice melt. And who would have thought it could be so fun, right? So at this point, we're just like before, we are going to dodge and weave through the ice, so please move about the vessel with caution and keep watching behind us, because obviously this glacier has been very active. I have an idea of what exactly it is, right? It's the process of plant life. It will collect things naturally like dust and guano, and over time all of that will build up to eventually create the perfect environment for the very first life forms to take hold. And those very first life forms are lichen and moss, and they are essential to this process of plant succession that follows, because they're able to break down the bedrock that they are growing on to create the very first layer of soil after the glacier retreats. Now, this layer of soil, it's not very deep. It's not very nutrient-rich either. So the plant life that takes hold here have to be able to thrive under those conditions. So that tend to be small things like grasses. but underneath some of it there are other hanging glaciers. As you look toward Holgate Glacier, but we aren't going to stop here so get yourselves ready for that. Hold on, we can make our way around Cape Island.
Dude, it's crazy. This is a big boat, and it's just getting tossed. Oh, dude, it's not. It is not.
To the island here.
See the little birthdays on that rock?
On top of the rock.
Justin Buffett.
And they're actually pretty mobile on land because their foreflippers are pretty strong and long, and their back flippers, their pelvis, is able to rotate beneath their body. So that they can even kind of run around and climb a little bit. So they're up on the top of this rock at the end of the island. So kind of easy to put them off the side of the right side of the vessel. But make sure it's hanging out just to be, yeah. Put it down, but off the starboard or right side as best as possible. You know what? I revised my statement. We're going to aim for the port or left side based on the way that these swells are coming in.
Dudes and dive in.
Give ourselves a little more space between the islands. It was a wild day to be a stellar sea lion up on that rock there. And part of the reason they can get so high is because they can actually kind of surf their way up this rock as these waves push up the face of the rock. So basically they'll put themselves at the top of the wave, and as the wave goes up over the bottom of the rock, they'll ride that rookeries, where stellar sea lions go during the summertime to pass on their genes or to give birth. And there will be a handful of males there who are protecting a territory. And again, they'll put on nearly 1,000 pounds of extra weight to be able to compete on the rookery. There we go. Almost 1 o'clock. There was a mom and a calf. And they're a little bit closer to shore, so we'll kind of close in too. And it almost looks like maybe the killer whales that are closer to that vessel over there, Callisto Voyager, and our 2 to 3 o'clock, they might be turning along with this mom and calf. So if everybody's turning, we'll have to switch sides, but keep you in the loop here. While we're getting ourselves in position, these killer whales, they travel within their own family pod. Their entire